Hey guys, welcome back to Spectre Comics. I'm Mike. If you haven't been here before, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Today we're going to do a step-by-step how to draw Rick and Morty tutorial. I'm going to basically break the characters down. We're going to do a quick sketch underlay. We're going to finalize our lines, and then we're going to end the video by coloring the characters in and make them look just like the cartoon. This is not a stylized version. This is not the Mike version of Rick and Morty. We're basically going to take what you see in the show and we're going to try to replicate those characters as closely as possible. So before we get started, don't forget to like the video if you enjoy it at the very end. And go ahead and again, subscribe to the channel. I've got a new Instagram, Space Misadventure, so go ahead and follow me there. And you'll see various Spectre Comics art as well as this Rick and Morty finalized version will be posted there as well. Grab a piece of paper, a pencil, and let's get started. Okay, so we're going to go ahead. We're going to start out by drawing Rick's oval head. It's a vertical oval. We're going to draw his eye line and his mouth line, and we're going to fill in the hair around the head. Again, just various points around the top of the head. We're going to draw his shoulder line, and then just take 2 lines down all the way to his feet. Draw his belt line and his shoes. And then we're going to just take some straight arms out to the side, put the little hands on. And then we're going to go ahead and start with our Morty. Morty's got a very round head. Again, the eye line, just draw his very simple rectangular shaped body. And again, straight legs all the way down to his shoe line. The shoes and the feet of both characters, very simple triangles. We're going to just take Morty's arms down to the side of his body. And we're going to change the opacity and we're going to start filling in the detail. Rick's eyes, very round. He's got a wide-eyed expression in this picture. Got his unibrow, nose pointing down, and then his mouth. His cheeks extend past the side of his face, and we fill in his teeth. It's a very typical Rick expression. And we're going to just go ahead and fill in around the face. We're going to start adding a little detail to the hair. Rick's got very small ears. We're going to just take the hair points around the head. I think I went a little wide with it, but we'll fix that in a little bit. I'm going to draw his neck, short neck, straight broad shoulders, and then we're going to take his lab coat down just past his knees, and we're going to draw the little lapels of the coat. The coat swings around his body and goes around the back of his legs, and we're going to just fill in the little lapels. Draw his belt in, and then kind of his crotch area, very straight area, and then his straight legs that stop just short of the shoe. There's a little gap between the bottom of the pants and the shoe. The feet are very simple wedges, whatever angle you draw them in. They're very just simple triangles. And then we're going to take his arms. The shirt goes just past the sleeve of his lab coat, and then his hands, very simple. I'm using this little guideline here to make sure the arms are even. Fingers very pointy. I'm going to have them showing open palms, very pointy fingers, pointy thumb. And that looks good for Rick. We're just going to fix his head a little bit and move on to Morty. Morty's got a very round head and very large round eyes. And in this picture, he's going to be kind of looking up at Rick with a interesting look like, what the heck are you doing? Morty's head, it's very round, and then he's got this hair that just kind of sits on top of his head. It's a very non-distinct shape. I'm going to just take his arms straight down to the side of his body, and then we're going to just take his legs straight down to the shoe. And again, the pant legs stop short of the shoe, so there's a little gap. And then the feet, the shoes are very simple triangles. I'm just going to move these guys up on the page so I can center them a little better. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to start cleaning up all of the lines that we drew. Again, this is my typical way when I'm drawing on my tablet, is I will sketch really quickly, get the drawing down fast, and then I'll go ahead and start making the lines a little sharper, a little cleaner. And I do this by having sketchy lines, and then I take the eraser tool and I just kind of shave away at the pixels of the line. It's the benefit of drawing on a tablet. Now, if you're using paper, what I would do is I would just keep the sketch layer very light, and then as you draw a final line, you can just erase as you go along. Just take your eraser, clean it up as you go. Again, I have the ability here on the tablet to kind of move stuff around. I felt like the nose was in the incorrect spot, just slightly to the left. I'm going to move it over to the right. U-shaped nose, very round eyes. Again, just drawing solid lines, cleaning them up as I go, and just keeping it real tight. One thing about Rick and Morty, the way they're drawn, is there's no real variation to the line weight. All the lines are pretty much one thickness. In order to get Rick right, you got to get his unibrow right. In this happy expression, his unibrow is arched upwards towards the top of his head. Again, I rotate my canvas so that I can draw it down. It gives me more control over my pen. So I'm constantly rotating the canvas. You'll see that in a lot of my how to draw videos. I'm going to do that with all of the points of Rick's hair. Again, rotating the canvas to draw towards me to get real good control of the line, and again, drawing a solid line and cleaning up as I go. Now, I think one thing I did with Rick's hair here is I think I took it a little too far away from his head. I'm just going to go ahead, grab the pieces and kind of move it closer so that each point is closer to his head. And then I'm just going to go ahead and clean up as I go. We'll go in, we'll zoom in, we'll clean up the points. The hair never really overlaps. It always just remains in a star kind of pattern around his head. It's very similar to a Lisa Simpson or a Maggie Simpson kind of hair, except gray. Rick's hair just dives right into the side of his head and goes around the back. So we know he has a little bald spot on the back of his head, but we're not going to see that here. Anything that doesn't look right, again, we're trying to match the style of the characters on the cartoon. We're not trying to stylize this in any way. We're just trying to keep it true to the characters that are on the show. So if anything doesn't look right, you just erase and try again. You move stuff around. Again, just keeping a consistent line weight around the entire character. Going to go ahead and clean up the mouth. Mouth is very important in Rick's face. When he's got his mouth open, the sides of his mouth usually protrude past the side of his face, and he's always showing his teeth. Rick usually has a little drip of spit at the bottom lip, but I'm not a big fan of that, so I did not draw that here. We're just going to go ahead and fill in the mouth with black, and then we're going to go ahead and erase where the teeth are, just kind of define the teeth a little better. And you get the mouth right, you usually get Rick to look just like he's supposed to look. So I think so far so good with this one. I'm going to go ahead and just clean up the tooth area and then just solidify the line around the mouth. I think the head looks pretty good. Just going to clean up the side of the head. Again, Rick's got a very vertical oval head shape. His neck's pretty short. I'm going to clean up around the chin. We're going to go ahead and fill in the shoulders. Fix the neckline of the shirt, and then again, with Rick's limbs being very long and skinny, you want to get the lines pretty straight. I did not use a straight edge. I usually would use the marquee tool to define the straight line, but here I was just sketching. Wasn't critical that I was as accurate as I like to be in normal case. Again, this is a cartoon character. We're just trying to get the flavor of the character and make it look as accurate as possible to the cartoon. Hands, very simple. I got him in a wide open palm hand pose. His fingers are very pointy. So we're just going to go ahead and clean up the fingers and get the lines good. And then the other hand, same thing. Open palm, pointy fingers, little area, the heel of the palm, kind of just to define the hand. And again, just cleaning up the pointy fingers. So we're going to go revisit the lab coat. We're going to draw the right side of the coat and the right side of the lapel. Again, consistent line weights all the way down. And again, my process is draw the lines and then shave away with the erase tool at the lines just to get the lines where you want, because sometimes you'll just be sketching and you won't know exactly where the line should go, but then you kind of shave it away and you can kind of see, oh, this is what looks good. Here I'm actually using the marquee tool, the polygonal marquee tool on his legs to get the legs straight. And again, we're just filling in the leg lines, getting rid of the sketchy nature of the initial sketch and cleaning up the lines and solidifying them. Now the jacket kind of swings out, separates, and then goes around the back of his legs. Fill in the belt here. Rick's waist is pretty high for how tall he is. And one mistake I think I made here is I don't think I made him quite as long and skinny and tall as he actually is. So I think my proportion's a little squat, but I think it still looks okay. Now we're going to go ahead and move on to Morty. Now the key to Morty is Morty's got a very round head and very big round eyes. So you got to get the shape of his face right to get Morty right. Again, these are not complicated characters to draw, but in order to get it to look the way that you see in the cartoon, the way the characters look, it's important to get the shapes of the features correct. So again, very round head, very round, large eyes. Drew his eyebrows. Again, his nose, a small U shape, kind of on a 45-degree angle. Again, we're just cleaning up the eyes, and I think I drew the eyes too small, so you can see me expanding the eye shape here. I think I got his right eye a little too low, so I'm going to just go ahead and move it up. I'm drawing on a Wacom Cintiq 13 HD tablet, and I'm using Photoshop Elements 2019 as my drawing program. Just cleaned up the nose, clean up the ear. Again, Morty's hair is just this mass on top of his head. Again, it has no distinct shape, so it's not hard to get it to look right because any angle you look at, it's going to be slightly different. So as long as you get the round head correct, the hair can be almost whatever shape you want as long as it's kind of in the same pattern of just starting past his forehead line and just kind of going around the top. We're going to clean up the ear on the right side of his head and again keep shaving away at the roundness of the head to get the right circle shape for his head. I think I have the face a little too square here, so I think I need to round it out a little bit. There we go. So Morty doesn't really have a neck. His head basically sits on top of his shoulders. His body's very straight and narrow and skinny. Now again, he stands to about Rick's shoulder height. If they're standing next to each other, it's easy to determine the size of the characters. So I drew Rick first. Morty's going to be shoulder height to Rick, but he's also very thin. He's got very thin arms, very thin legs. He's got very rounded shoulders as opposed to Rick's straight shoulders. We're just going to curve around to his sleeve, which comes midway on the bicep, and then just take his arms straight down at his side. Again, there's not a lot of perspective. There's not a lot of roundness around the body. It's just straight lines, straight shirt down, straight across the waist. We're going to take his legs straight down to the shoe. The only real curve is on the shoulders there, making sure the armpit lines are even and the shirt and the line weights are consistently the same thickness. I'm going to go ahead and draw Morty's shirt waist, clean up his hands a little bit. Again, very small hands, very pointy fingers, straight legs down to the shoe. Again, stopping short of the top of the shoe, cleaning up the pant legs. Again, I got a lot of stray lines here. Just got to clean it up a bit. And again, the shoe's very simple, very basic triangles, just various versions of different wedge shapes. Again, I've got a profile, his right foot is in a profile side view and his left foot is pointed towards the camera on a 45-degree angle. So we're just going to clean up the shoes. Not hard to get these shoes right and the feet right. Very basic shapes for both Rick and Morty on their feet. So that is the drawing. Now we're going to go ahead and just round out the drawing by coloring it in. I pulled a color palette of both characters in early so I could just use the eyedropper tool to kind of fill it in. So Rick's colors are on the left, Morty's are on the right. We're going to go ahead and use the polygonal marquee tool to outline the areas and then just fill in the paint bucket. We're going to start with the skin color. Rick's skin is slightly paler than Morty's. Morty's got a little more flesh tone to him, whereas Rick's a little grayer due to his age. Fill in Morty's arms here. Next, we're going to go fill in the hair. Now, Rick's hair is gray and his unibrow also gray. So we're just, again, using the polygonal marquee tool to fill in the lines and then, or to outline the area and then just fill it in with the paint bucket. We're going to go ahead and do Morty's brown hair as well. Fill that in, just clean up any areas I missed, like here. And then we're going to go ahead and do Rick's shirt color. And again, the sleeves of the shirt extend just beyond the lab coat. Morty's very well-known yellow shirt gets filled in here. And then move on to the pants. Rick's got brown pants, or Season 3, Episode 1, where he said he used to wear blue pants in his vision at the Shoney's. Morty's brown pants, or Morty's got blue pants, and Rick's got brown pants. And then filling in the shoes. Going to make the belt the same color as Rick's shoes, and then fill in Morty's shoes, and that will be it for coloring, except for Rick's belt buckle. We'll go ahead and fill in Rick's belt buckle. It's just a slight lighter yellow color than, let's say, Morty's shirt as a reference color. I'm going to get rid of the palette of colors, and I'm just going to go ahead to round out the drawing. I'm going to go ahead and add some shadows just by drawing some ovals, filling them in with black, and reducing the opacity. And then just to kind of really make the characters pop, we're going to do an oval behind the characters, and again, reduce the opacity, and then erase anywhere was white, got filled in with that gray color. So we're going to go ahead and anything that needs to be white, the eyes, Rick's teeth, and of course the lab coat, we're just going to go ahead and erase the areas that are white so they stand out. I'm not going to clean up inside Rick's lab coat that you can see behind his legs because it's kind of in shadow anyway. And that is it. That's our drawing. Rick and Morty. I think it turned out pretty good. And that's how you draw Rick and Morty. Hope you had fun following along. Let me know how your drawing turned out by putting a comment in the comment section below. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to like the video. And don't forget to follow me on Instagram. We will see you next time. Thanks for watching.